Montreal, Quebec, Canada. He was the 1950 Maritime Provinces Gold Gloves and 1951 Royal Canadian Navy welterweight champion. An undefeated professional record at 5-0, a judge, a referee, television commentator, radio host, assistant matchmaker, and Interbox Promotions. He also worked in various capacities with the WBA, including chairman of judges and referees, championship committee member, chairman of officials, ringside supervisor, and executive committee member. Busy guy. And he has worked over 75 world championship bouts as a judge and referee, 2019 Hall of Fame inductee in the non-participant category, Guy Jutras.
Good afternoon, good morning. I don't know what time it is now, but in any event, I want to talk about the contribution of the International Boxing Hall of Fame into the conduct of what's happening in boxing nowadays. A lot of people have forgotten that there was an awful lot of problems going around in boxing, let's say about 30 years, before 30 years, and what happened is that it was getting out of control to the point where we were sort of oftentimes suspecting whether the fight was on the up and up. They had a movie about the Jake LaMotta life story, and in that movie they showed that Jake was offered some money to throw a fight. It was like so that he can get a championship opportunity, and he went along with it. But this was something that was, in fact, not common, but even the fact that it was rare, it was a great blow to the credibility of boxing. And what happened, and very few people understand or realize that, the organization that made a big help in changing this is this organization here, International Boxing Hall of Fame. And they, in fact, I remember when even it was Muhammad Ali had lent his assistance at the very beginning, and we're talking about 30 years ago now, to clean up the situation. And the fact is that now some sources recognize that boxing is probably one of the cleanest sports on earth at this stage now. And yes, that's right. So we have to give an awful lot of credit to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, because it exposed everything that was happening. There was no secret, and one after the other, the ones that were undesirable started leaving the picture. And we find today that even though there are 5, 6 organizations, that they all have obedience to the rules and regulations of boxing. And for that reason, I think that the people of my age, or well, not older, you don't get any older than this guy, 87, so I'm glad that I even survived that long. Nevertheless, the people that have been following boxing over, let's say 30 years, well over 30 years, they'll know what I'm talking about. It was very, very undesirable to talk about that. So that is my contribution to the speech today. Thank you so much.
Calling someone to help me right now, Al Valenti, the son of Hall of Famer Rick Valenti. Al, can you come up and join me? Born in Boston, Massachusetts, he began boxing at the age of 12 and showed promise early. A converted southpaw, he turned pro in 1948 at the age of 16, borrowing the name of a friend to circumvent the legal boxing age of 18 there. He was soon meeting with the top lightweights and welterweights in the era, including Tony DeMarco, Teddy Davis, and Jimmy Carter. On April 1st, 1955, he upset Johnny Saxton via a 14-round TKO to become the welterweight king at the Boston Garden. He defended his belt against Carmen Basilio and was stopped in the 12th round of a pitched fight that endeared both battlers to fans. He then rebounded with a first-round TKO over Chico Vichar to earn a rematch with Basilio and again was stopped in the 12th, but it was an epic war that earned Fight of the Year honors. He went on to win bouts with Kid Davila, Gaspar Ortega, and Don Johnson. 2019 Hall of Fame inductee in the Old Timers category, Tony DeMarco.
Don't get up yet. Good afternoon, inductees. Good afternoon to this wonderful city, the village of Canastota, where we all come here together today because of one word, boxing. And Tony DeMarco transcends boxing. To understand Tony DeMarco and his relationship to the city of Boston, the city of champions, the city of Ted Williams, Bobby Orr, Larry Bird, Tom Brady, you best understand that Tony was born on, believe it or not, Fleet Street. The street is now named Tony DeMarco Way. When Tony walked to the Boston Garden that night in April 1955, he did what Williams or Bird and Brady never could do, because they were not born in the city of boxing. Then he walked to the Boston Garden, and he did something that no other Bostonian boxer had ever done. He won his world championship, walked back home with the belt, and they partied like it was 1995. I am an Italian American, proud of it. I'm also a boxing fan, and extremely proud of it. Represented my grandfather here in 2012. The connective tissue between Tony DeMarco, Rip Valenti, and the Italian American community in Boston's North End is iconic. Understand what Tony did in the ring. He boxed for 3 decades. He boxed either 16 champions or future champions. He boxed at the Boston Garden 26 times. Sinatra didn't play the Garden 26 times. Today, there's a statue for Tony DeMarco at the very top of Hanover Street. And I implore those that visit the city of champions to remember the one single champion that has represented our city like no other champion, because he's a true Bostonian. And today, I get to call him a Hall of Famer. Today, I get to call him my campione. And today, I get to say to Tony DeMarco, Amore, I love you, my friend. And as I have done in the past, ladies and gentlemen, the undisputed welterweight champion of the world, when there were only 7 world champions, the Flaming Fury of Fleet Street, Boston, Massachusetts, Tony DeMarco.
That bottom of my heart was at speaking. And I'm so happy to see you people, see my friends, my wife. Give my wife she keeps the score inside of this room. But anyway, I'm so happy to be here. And I must say that I did find 8 world champions and lost 2. We won't talk about that. But anyway, it's an honor. Bottom of my heart towards that speed, my very thoughts. Grazie tutti quanti.
Born in Pennsville, New Jersey, he began his career writing in local newspapers before being hired by the Philadelphia Bulletin. covering basketball, auto racing, and boxing in 1982. Top-ranked promoter Bob Aaron hired in 1983 to handle East Coast publicity for his ESPN boxing series. 4 years later, he handled publicity for Marvis Marvin Hagler on his bout with Sugar Ray Leonard. He left Top Rank in 1993 through 1996 to work in Las Vegas in a Hilton Sport book arena, but returned to work for De La Hoya and Chavez 1 and has been with Top Rank since. In over 3 decades in the sport, he has earned a reputation for accuracy, practice, and willingness to assist. Highly respected throughout the boxing community, he was awarded the 2006 Marvin Cohn Good Guy Award and the 2013 Barney Nagler Award for long and material service by the Boxing Writers of America Association. 2019 Hall of Fame inductee in the non-participant category, Lee Sadie.
We grew up not too far from here in southern New Jersey, a little town called Pennsville, and we didn't have a whole lot of money, but we did have a radio. And in 1963, I listened to a Muhammad Ali fight against Doug Jones. I was captivated. You know, when you hear boxing on radio, it's just totally different. Little did I know I would eventually cover Ali fights and for the Philadelphia Bulletin. I'm very fortunate to be standing here. In life, you'll find out, each one of you, people help you. They help you get to the next level. I work for a number of newspapers, and when I got to the Philadelphia Bulletin, at that time, in the 70s, they were covering every Joe Frazier fight, every Muhammad Ali fight. So I covered Ali versus Spinks in Vegas, and I covered Ali versus Burdick in Bahamas. And just incredible experiences. In fact, the publicist at that time, and who I later worked for, was the great Hall of Famer Irving Rudd. And I want to tell you about our company, Top Rank Boxing. I wouldn't be standing here without Bob Aaron, the Hall of Fame owner of Top Rank, our president, Todd DeBuff, our director of operations, Brad Jacobs, director of boxing, Carl Brady, our 2 incredible matchmakers, Hall of Famer Bruce Trampler and Brad Goodman. I'm the 5th from Top Rank to be in the Hall of Fame, more than any other company, and I think that's a testament to Bob Aaron, who he hires, and the direction they go. Our fights are bigger than ever on ESPN, as we all know that. But you know, this is quite an honor. It's unexpected. Publicists don't get awards. When I worked at the Philadelphia Bulletin, we closed in around 83. And so a local promoter, Frank Gill, connected me with Bob Aaron, and he hired me to launch a new Thursday night ESPN series, which included Michael Buffer's debut, Al Bernstein announcing, Bruce Trampler and Teddy Brenner as matchmakers. And I was on that series for 3 years, so I was very happy. It was a great series to be on. We had a lot of local heroes in different towns. And then I got a call from Bob and said, "You're doing okay, you know, nice work. I'm gonna give you a star fighter." And that star fighter is on this dais. My first star fighter was Marvin Hagler. Right there. Bob told me, go to Palm Springs, Palm Canyon Hotel, and set up a training camp. I just said, "Who are we fighting?" He goes, "Sugar Ray Leonard." So I met the Petronelli brothers, these 2 beautiful men, great trainers, right, Marvin? And when you work with a fighter and his family and his trainer, it stays inside of you. It doesn't go away. Marvin will tell you. Like we're a unit for 3 months, and you're always together, no matter what happens later in life. So my next fighter is also on this dais. We named him the Lone Star Cobra, Donald Curry. So I'm coming here with good company. two two men I really care for, my family and their families. And we were very poor. We had nothing. But by the time I got to top rank, I've traveled the world, and everywhere with top rank boxing. And I want to tell you, each and every one of you, this is the greatest country in the world. There's no freedoms like we have in this country, and I want you to understand it. When you travel, you'll find out why. But I also want to do a shout out to a dear friend of mine at the MGM. His name is Scotty Gertner. He's a star publicist there. He's helped me many, many times in big events, and I want to say hello to him. And thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. It's been a tremendous journey. You know, Paco's here. It's big when Paco's here. And my man Matt Sandoli's here. And so I'm very honored, and actually I feel like I've been blessed in life. Thank you.
He grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania, and after seeing Willie Pett box, it inspired him to box himself, and he racked up 40 wins and 50 amateur bouts, and that led to a lifetime in boxing. A matchmaker at 15 and promoter at 18, he also engaged in 10 pro bouts, often stepping in when there was a no-show of fighters for the card he promoted. He served as matchmaker for over 10,000 fights, promoted over 1,000, including 196 over a 5-year period at the Tropicana in Atlantic City. Among those he advised, matched, or promoted include Ernie Shavers, Simon Brown, Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson, Willie Pett, Aaron Pryor, Roberto Duran, and Sugar Ray Robinson. A master of hype, he is known for his promotional ingenuity. 2019 Hall of Fame inductee in the non-participant category, Don Elbaum.
Ed Berkeley is only giving me 3 minutes. This is absolutely incredible, and I'm not even sure where to start off with. But there's 2 things that this world, one of which is in boxing, has been trying to come up with an answer. All right? One of this, again, is what came first, the chicken or the egg? And the other question, which is going to be answered in about 30 seconds, is who came first, Don Elbaum or Russell Peltz? Russell Peltz was at my circumcision. It's true, by the way. I'm not even sure. I've got a million notes. I've been working on this for I don't know how long. 30-some years ago, I received a phone call. Don Elbaum? Yes. This is Teddy Atlas. Teddy, I know who you are. You're working with us with Mike Tyson. This is amazing, incredible. 30-some years later, from hello, Don Elbaum. This is Teddy Atlas. We are being inducted into the National Boxing Hall of Fame side by side. I've been in this game since before I was born. I have been meeting and speaking with some of the greatest trainers of all time, all right? I mean, this includes Whitey Bimstein, Ray Arcel, Jack Hurley, Angelo Dundee, Gil Clancy, and currently the master of them all, Buddy McGirt. But my God, in every sport, in every business, you've got great champions, but there's only one Muhammad Ali. You have great trainers, but there's only one Teddy Atlas. There are also an incredible amount of great ring announcers, and it is a shame and a disgrace that one of the best ever in ring announcing at the fights and explaining the fights is Teddy Atlas. It is a disgrace to the fans. Forget the sport writers. It is a disgrace and embarrassment to the fans that Teddy is not back on the air doing the blow by blow with boxing. My mother was a concert pianist. She played with the Erie Philharmonic and Cincinnati Philharmonic. And at the age of 6, I was considered a child prodigy. I actually played duets with my mother with the Erie Philharmonic at the Warner Theater when I was 6 years old. At the age of 7, my family went to New Bedford and Fall River, Mass. Every summer to see my mother's family. At the age of 7, my Uncle Danny, who was a boxer, a big boxing fan, took me to my first fight. I was sitting in the first row, and I watched this fighter in the ring. I could not stop watching in awe. When the fight was over, and the exact words I said to my Uncle Danny, quote, "That is the most beautiful music I have ever seen. That's what I want to do." And Willie Pep changed my life forever from that point on. I have boxed amateur and pro. I started promoting actually my first fight at 17, a little over 10 years ago. And I have absolutely just had the most incredible, just one of what I call luck. I was recently asked, what are some of the greatest accomplishments or feel-good things you've done in boxing? There is a mountain of situations. But one, there was a fighter by the name of Johnny Pizarro, and we went over to the Philippines and fought Flash in Borde. This was the first time ever an American fighter had ever boxed in the Philippines. We lost, all right? And by the way, Elorde would beat Manny Pacquiao. Not that Manny's not good, Elorde was great. And from that point on, things just started all over the place. I had, and again, Sonny Banks dropped Muhammad Ali in the first round. I did Hurricane Carter and Hurricane Carter and Eagle Griffith when Carter scored an incredible one-round knockout. From Sonny Banks, I said, dropping Ali in the first round in the Garden. Hurricane Carter's one-round devastation over Emil Griffith. And also babysitting, I love this, babysitting on Homily Lee's twins when they were 3 years old. The babysitter couldn't show up. They were in Cherry Hill. I was in Atlantic City, and I went and babysat the twins. I trained Whitey Cox. That's cockfighting with George, and this is not pornography, by the way. With George Arenado. George Arenado was the Donald Trump of the Philippines. And I wound up living for 6 months in the Philippines and also in Bangkok, where we did the World Championship cockfighting competition. It was unreal. I don't know if you know it, but you take these fighting cocks and they do road work and they spar. They actually have gloves and they spar. And some of them are better than some of the fighters today, by the way. I just want to say, and by the way, I also brought the Beatles to Pittsburgh thanks to Dick Clark. This is just an incredible situation and just one of the greatest moments of my life came when I got a call from Ed Brophy saying, "Don, congratulations, you've been inducted into the International Hall of Fame. Thank you for all, and this is the greatest sport God ever created." Thank you.
Texas, he was a decorated amateur.
This is Mindy Rhodes. She is the most incredible cabaret performer right here in New York, Philadelphia. Just look her up. This is fantastic. Wow.
Nice flowers. Born in Fort Worth, Texas, he was a decorated amateur posting a record of 400 wins, just 4 losses, and defeated Davey Moore to secure a spot on the 1980 Olympic team, but did not compete because of the USA's boycott. Turning pro, he defeated his first 15 foes, including Bruce Finch and Marlon Starling, before capturing the WBA welterweight belt from Gordon Chuck Wong in 1983. 5 successful defenses followed, including a rematch win over Marlon Starling. Named the inaugural IBF champion in 1984, he unified that 147-pound title with a dynamic second-round knockout over WBC champion Milton McCrory. He retired with a record of 34 wins, just 6 losses, 25 KOs, renowned for his precision blend of speed, power, and technique. In 1985, he shared the ring's Fighter of the Year honors with marvelous Marvin Hagler. 2019 Hall of Fame inductee in the modern category, the Lone Star Cobra, Don Curry.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here tonight. I want to thank my coach, Paul Reyes, Ed Brody, and Bob Aaron. I had a terrific amateur and professional career, and I was a very good amateur and good professional. And I just want to thank those guys. And thank you very much.
Born in St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands, he began boxing as an 11-year-old and compiled a 15-2 amateur record that includes a win over Livingston Brampton. Turned pro in 1981 and scored 29 consecutive victories, 27 of those by KO. In 1987, he captured the vacant WBA 154-pound title by stopping in Quebec in 3 rounds and reigned until 1990 with defenses over Buster Drayton and Terry Norris, among others. He became a two-time division champion when he captured the vacant WBC middleweight title in the 4th round KO over Harold Graham in 1990. He regained the WBC title in 1995 with a 2nd round TKO over Agostino Cardamone. He is universally regarded as one of the hardest punchers of all time. 2019 Hall of Fame inductee in the modern category, the Hawk, Julian Jackson.
Amazing. Wow. First of all, I just want to greet you in the name which is above every other name. And that's the name of Jesus Christ. I'm honored in the International Boxing Hall of Fame to be here, coming from such a humble life. You know, a lot of people say, for every good man, there is a good woman behind of him. But I want to change that. For every good man, there is a good woman beside of him. She didn't come from my backside. She came from the rib. So she got to be standing next to me. I would like my beautiful wife to stand. Praise God. Hallelujah. Stay standing, sweetheart. Stay standing. She is a gift from God to me. She is a gift from God to me. And my family came with me. I would like my oldest son, Junior, to stand. JD. I would like DJ to stand. Now I have 4 boys. John is not here. And Clayton is not here. But you know what? We made history. All 4 of my boys have been to the Olympics. Including me, making it 5 in the family. That's amazing. And you know, I thank God for my daughters as well. I would like Julie to take a stand. That's my first girl. And everybody said that she was supposed to be a boxer because she looks so much like me. And I would like Jenny to take a stand. Janaya, come on, at the side. Praise God. And I understand I had a little surprise today. My oldest brother, who really, in a sense, was my father. Because you see, as a young boy, a young lad growing up in the Virgin Islands, my dad wasn't there for me. Our dad wasn't there for us. And the oldest one had to, in a sense, take that position. Danny, take a stand. Wow. I love you, man. I love you, man. All right, yeah. Man, I love you guys. I thank God for my family. And as a matter of fact, I'm a family man. I'm a family man. St. Thomas is only 32 square miles. And if you look on the map, all you're gonna see is a dot. But you know what? The Virgin Islands pack a big punch. Hey, I would like the committee that came up to support me, the government, for sure. We have Commissioner White that came. We have the Senate. We have Senator James that came. And tourism. Tourism, is anybody that represents tourism here? Come on, take a stand, please. Wow. You know, we might be a small island. But you know what? Man, we have a big heart. I would like to thank Rudy, one of my co-workers. Rudy. Oh man, a tremendous gentleman. I would like to thank Attorney Jackson for being here. I saw everybody, and I'm just excited about what is happening here today. I also want to thank my promoter back then, Don King. 316. Don King made me what I am, in a sense. and all the people that work with Don King, and all the trainers, and you know, all the fans. There's something that is unique about the Hall of Fame. And that one unique thing is the love that I feel in this place. I want to thank the fans, man, for coming out and supporting us. I want you to know that we love you as much as you love us. I have something that I really want to share from my heart. I believe that this is not only for America, but this is for the world. I want to make an announcement to the world. Nothing in life is worthwhile if you don't take a chance or take a risk in life. And I believe that all the other inductees can understand we all have to take a chance. We all have to put our lives on the line. Some of us have to step out of the familiar and into the unfamiliar. In order to get something we never had, we had to do something we never did. And I know that all the champions here, all the athletes, and even those in the crowd could relate to what I'm saying. In 1987, on my way to fight for the WBA Junior Middleweight Championship of the World, in Las Vegas, I did something that changed my life forever. Something that was not popular. I gave my life to Jesus Christ. And that was on the airport. It wasn't in the church. An airport in the Virgin Islands on my way to Sin City, Las Vegas. I became a brand new man. I was born again. It was not popular at that time, but I had to step out of the familiar and step in to the unfamiliar. It was no longer Julian Jackson's way, but God's way. My way was always headed for destruction, problems, trouble. As a matter of fact, I once tried to commit suicide. Yep. But I didn't have the guts to pull the trigger. Rudy, I didn't have the guts to pull the trigger. Believe it or not. Wow.
We love you.
Thank you, Jesus. You see, the Bible says there is a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof is the way of death. My way didn't work. But now I was trusting God's way. I believe that God was setting me up. a nobody like me met somebody like God. Hallelujah. Come on. You see, you're looking at a man that is not ashamed of what God did in my life. I know what I went through. And I want to let the world know it wasn't Julian Jackson's way anymore, but it was God's way. Hallelujah. Now I met somebody like God to become and to stand before the world on this prestigious platform and to receive one of the highest honor in boxing and to let the world know with God all things are possible. Thank you very much.
Born in Staten Island, New York at 18, he relocated upstate to train under Customato. He won the 1976 Adirondack Golden Gloves lightweight title. Back problems forced him out of the ring, but not out of the sport. He apprenticed under D'Amato as assistant trainer, working with a young Mike Tyson and gaining experience working with the Swedish Olympic team. He has trained such champions as Wilfred Benitez, Simon Brown, Barry McGuigan, Tracy Patterson, Timothy Bailey, and WBC light heavyweight champion Oslander Avazdik. He brought his boxing expertise from the corner to the airwaves to become one of boxing's most popular and respected broadcasters. ESPN2, ESPN, WBC, and NBC and ABC are the networks he worked for. His work behind the microphone earned him the 2001 Sam Taub Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism from the Boxing Writers Association of America. 2019 Hall of Fame inductee in the Observer category, Teddy Atlas.
It's a beautiful ring. Thank you. First off, there's a lot of people that get credit properly for putting this magnificent event together. It kind of is a boxing heaven, and it really is. And the people, the Brophies, they get the proper credit for putting it together, but I'd like to just also say what this man behind me said earlier, but I'd like to say it again. There are, from my understanding and my experience here in the last 4 days, 300 volunteers that are just so selfless and dedicated to helping make this the event that it is for 4 days, whether it's stopping traffic, whether it's driving you somewhere, whatever it is, security, just everything. And without those 300 volunteers, this event could never happen. So thank you to them. First, I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees, some of who I know personally, like Lee Samuels, who I had the privilege of working with in our camp when I trained Timothy Bradley for the Pacquiao fight. I learned firsthand why he has always been called a gentleman. And of course, my good friend of 40 or so years, you never know how many years it is, now Don Elbaum, who has been called many things
other than a gentleman, including, as he tells it, the promoter of the first real fight of the century between Cain and Abel. You will hear many stories about Don today, but I will take a second to tell one right now about how when my son Teddy was in grammar school, Don would send him $10 for every A that he got on his report card. And for those doubting that story, I still have to bounce checks to prove it. I'm kidding. He sent cash. I remember Buddy McGirt as a young fighter coming into Gleason's gym in Manhattan with his trainer and manager, Al Serto. God bless Al, who we lost this past December. I remember watching tapes of Tony DeMarco at the late great Jack Newfield's house, and then wondering how many of today's fighters would be able to withstand his left hook. I use Julian Jackson as an example that pure punchers were born, not made, during many of our ESPN Friday Night Fight broadcasts. And when examples of pure class needed to be made, Donald Curry and Guy Jutras easily fit the bill. So it's both comfortable and a privilege to share today with these men. I've been given this honor today for my work as a broadcaster, which is greatly appreciated, as I always took pride, whether calling a professional fight or an Olympic one, as I tried in some small ways to make the audience aware of something that perhaps they had not been aware of, that would both add to their viewing of the bout and the appreciation they had for what the fighters were doing in the ring. But although I may stand here today for that part of my career, I do know that I would not be here if I had not been a trainer first. For that is why I was given the opportunity over 22 years ago to do commentary. And I could not have been a trainer without fighters to train. So I'd like to thank all of them today for giving me an opportunity to learn my craft while building a career in this sport. Some of them are here today, like Tyrone Jackson, who I count as one of my greatest successes because of the man, father, and husband he is today. And Tyrone, you won that fight with Medina. In my book, you're a champion. And Jimmy McMahon, who had his career shortened because of a medical test, and never complained, but instead, he used something that does not show up on CAT scans. It's called character, to become a great success in life. I'm grateful to Michael Moore for not only giving me what all trainers dream of, the heavyweight champion, but more importantly, a chance to stand in a ring and hug my children and say, we did it. I'm thankful that Tim Bradley brought me back to training when I had left it, so that I could have the trust to come back again, which I recently did, to be fortunate enough to train another champion in Alexander Bolsik, the current light heavyweight champion. I'm also blessed to have such a special person as Alex and his family in mine and my family's lives. And I want to thank his manager, Agus Clemens and David Berlin, for recommending me, and Agus's assistant, Al, for helping me in camp. I want to thank the fans, because without you, well, there's no sport, and there would be no need for us. My mentor in the business was the great Customato, who there is no doubt that without him in my life, this day could not exist. He would often remind me of how fortunate I would be if I were ever able to count my true friends on one hand. Well, I have truly been given the gift of perhaps a couple handfuls of, as Custom phrase it, tested friends, not fair weather ones. Anything that I have been lucky enough to have accomplished would have less meaning without them and my family to share with. Thanks to all of them for being here It's amazing how many of you are here and how many have come from so far to get here. Some from California, Las Vegas, Arizona. Some even drove from Kentucky and even brought real moonshine with them. Be very careful driving home. And my friend and my family's friend, Hope, he even figured out a way to be named the Grand Marshal so he could be here. He's amazing. What can I say except that I am grateful to all of you to have such love to share with my family. There have been thousands of dreaming kids who once practiced talking into a bar of soap or a hairbrush as they broadcasted a fight to millions of imaginary people. But there are far fewer who have ever been actually given the opportunity to do it. And for that, I must thank ESPN for taking that chance on me 22 years ago. I also need to thank Kevin Monahan and Dick Ebersol at NBC for giving me the opportunity to broadcast 4 Olympics. And I must thank Matt Sanduli, my friend and producer at ESPN, for forcing me to do something I was not inclined to do on my own. Sit down and watch myself on tape and learn as a commentator the same thing I knew as a trainer. The difference between aggression and effective aggression. Only this time behind the microphone. But it was during a period when I really didn't need television acumen. I needed to know somebody would be loyal. That's when he helped me the most. And speaking of aggression, I was blessed to have the smooth and wily Brian Kenny with me all those years to make sure I wasn't overly aggressive with my friend Max Kellerman. Thank you. I'm free today because of that. I'd be ashamed to be here in handcuffs. It would take away from the moment. I love Max. I was very lucky to have Bob Papa as my first partner because he taught me what a professional broadcaster sounded like, while his patience and guidance helped me to gain the confidence I needed. Thank you to all the people who were part of our production team. And they're all here because they're special people. Because that's what they do. That's how they practice life and friendship. Rick, Robbie, Mike, Brian, Alad, Jimmy, Matt, Saul, and Russ. Your last names were too difficult to pronounce, but you all know who you are. And hopefully you also know from the way I treated you over the years, just how important you are to me. A lot of things. And Saul, you should have a place here for all those years of fight plans. Thanks for always letting me win. And finally, the best for last, my family. I've heard people say that being inducted into the Hall of Fame is the greatest thing to happen to them in their lives. And I have no doubt that for them it is. And what I am going to say in no way is to diminish the importance or the meaning of today. No, it is to only properly place it and explain why today does have the special meaning it has for me. It gives and blesses me with the opportunity to say thank you to the most important people in my life. My wife Elaine, my daughter Nicole, my son Ted. Because the day I was married and the day my children were born are the most important days of my life. And today gives me another chance to share something happy and good with them, and that's priceless. Someone once said that to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs. Well, to have a career, sometimes you have to miss some birthdays, graduations, holidays. Yes, I remember flying out to do a broadcast on Thanksgiving or being in training camp during Christmas. and calling home to hear my young daughter say, I don't want to talk to him. I want to see him, and I want to hold him. And I remember my little son asking, what color was my hotel room? And what channel I had on my television, so he could put the same channel on and pretend that he was with me. It may have been my ambitions and responsibilities, but it was their sacrifices. And who was it that removed the picture of me from my daughter's arms as she lifted her into bed, or turned the television off as my son drifted off to sleep? It was the greatest champion I have ever known, my beautiful wife, Elaine. So thank you to everyone at the Hall of Fame for allowing me a chance to again say to them here today, thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Princess, and thank you, Bud. And maybe when you put into the hole, you're also given a bonus from heaven. If so, it would be a couple of ringside seats up above where my mom and dad could watch. You see, 44 years ago, my dad made it possible for me to go up to Catskill, New York. He paid my room and board. He gave me the chance to pursue something as uncertain as a boxing career, while other sons were getting real jobs or going off to college, where in the end there were pay stubs to show or graduation to attend. I know there are no gowns worn here today or any of those flat hats to throw into the air, but Mom, maybe you could explain to Dad that this is the closest I can do for a graduation. I will close by saying what I have said before inside the ring to my wife and children, and now a chance to say it with my grandsons Joseph and Teddy IV, and my son-in-law Jeff, his mother Susan, my daughter-in-law Lana, my brother Terrell, his wife Lisa, her parents, my nephews, my mother-in-law Maria, my sister-in-law Elizabeth and Lily, and her husband Kevin, my brother-in-law Michael, and my cousins Zeph and Amelia. They're all here. We did it. I love you all.
Long Island. He turned pro in 1982 as an 18-year-old high school senior. In 1985, he won the WBC Continental America's light welterweight title from Sugar Boy Nando, and then won the vacant IBF light welter title in 1988 with a 12-round TKO over Frankie Warren. He defeated Simon Brown for the WBC welter title in 1991 and retired in 1997 with a record of 73 victories, just 6 defeats, 1 draw with 48 knockouts. Since hanging up his gloves, he has become one of boxing's most respected coaches, earning 2002 Trainer of the Year honors by the Boxing Writers Association of America. Among champions he guided include Antonio Tarver, Nate Campbell, Vernon Forrest, Holly Malinacci, and Hall of Famer Arturo Thunder Gotti. 2019 Hall of Fame inductee in the modern category, James Buddy McGirt.
Thank you. I told you last night, I warned you that I'm going to cry. But I want to thank God for this day, because if it wasn't for him, none of us would be here. And like I said last night, I don't like using the word fans. I like to use the word family. And to all the family out here supporting us, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. You know, a lot of things go through your mind, you know, being in the Hall of Fame. And everyone's like, the day's getting closer, the day's getting closer. And I gotta say, today, my wife, my 3 daughters, and my son, they said something to me that really got me. They said, we're proud of you. You know, that really got me because it just makes me understand that, makes me feel, let me rephrase that all the hard work I did over the years, they appreciate it. As Teddy said, all the sacrifices, not being home, missing birthdays, holidays, graduations, you know, it's a lot of work. But they always stuck by me, and I want my kids to know, and my son, I love you. And now I gotta go to my lovely wife, Gina. Stand up, lady. This lady has been with me for 30 years. And any woman that's been with a man in boxing for 30 days deserves a medal. But she's always had my back. And there was times, you know, when I was down, she always reminded me who I was. And another crazy thing is, 30 years ago today, we went on our first date. We went from making out in the parking lot in Secaucus, New Jersey, to making out at the Hall of Fame. I want to say, I love you, you're my world. Without you, I wouldn't be here. I have one more person to thank, and it's going to take me a minute or two, so please bear with me. And it's a young lady who left us three years ago. And I think about it every day, I cry every day for her. She bought me my first pair of boxing gloves. And she said to me, you can box, but you better have good grades in school. She said, no good grades, no boxing, just that simple. I said, okay. As I got older, she says, you know, I hope you make it in boxing because manual labor ain't for you. She said, you suck at everything. And she asked me to cut the grass one day. She came home, I was sitting down in the shade. She goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm letting the lawnmower cool off. She said, stupid ass, what do you think they make the lawnmower for? I take and that lady's my mom. And she's attended, I would say, 60 of my 80 fights. And I've only heard her voice in 2 fights. The first one was when I won my first title. I'll never forget, Frankie Warren stepped on the gas a little bit, picked up the pace, and she yelled, come on, JW. And I looked at her, winked, let her know I was okay. And then I started hitting Frankie Warren back. I was trying to take a break, but Frankie Warren had other plans. So I started hitting him with combinations, and he backed up, and I wound up winning the championship. My next time I heard her voice was when I won my second world title. And I was fighting Simon Brown, and Simon Brown stepped on the gas. I'm like, shit, man, I can't get a break. But I heard her say, come on, JW. But she was behind me, I couldn't wink at her, so I had to throw punches, keep Simon Brown off me, and to let her know I was okay. I did that, and I won the championship, and she was happy. And if she was here right now, she would say, JW, stop all that damn crying. And I want to say, well, I hear you. I miss you. And JW's okay. JW's right.